quarterback, I'm sitting here smiling for a reason. It's because my guys are coming back, and I'm excited to make some plays with them this year.
Riley, obviously you guys deserve a ton of credit for the turnaround, but what is it about Coach Elko that prompted such a flip from one season to another?
Yeah, so Coach Elko's very first press conference, he got off the plane, went straight to our indoor facility, and gave a speech on the word now. And what he said is, we're going to win now. And once you hear something over and over and over again, team meeting after team meeting, you start to believe it, right? So we went this whole offseason, Coach Elko said, we're going to win now. I'm not going to bring in transfers. I'm going to keep the same guys that were backups from the year that we went 3-9, and I'm going to win football games with them. So it kind of attests, to his character and his mindset when it comes to, going into a brand new program and creating a new culture of winning. Huge respect for him because he convinced me that we really can do it.
So what's he saying going into this year?
This year is don't become complacent and do exactly what you did last year, which is work. Don't do any of the extra stuff. Don't buy into any of the extra stuff. Just go to work every day. Do exactly what we do. Our edge right now is the way we work, and obviously FBI, which is football intelligence. Those are our two edges. We can't lose that. Obviously, we're not going to be the biggest out there, the fastest out there. But what we can be is the hardest workers and the smartest out there. So those are the two things that we can't control, and we can't lose that edge coming into this year.
You talked about the bracelet in there. When did you get that made, and do you wear that during game days? Do you ever look at that after maybe you throw touchdowns and things like that?
Yeah, so I made that in high school, or my mom made that in high school, and we started that tradition ever since I was in high school. Because obviously, you're a star player in high school. Everybody wants to give you all this praise, but as I kind of talked about it, I need somebody to keep me humble sometimes. So obviously, my mom raised her hand and said, "I'll do it," and she's she's the sweetest person ever. So she's not the best at it, but it's still a tradition, that we carry on. And after touchdowns, or I ever see my name on some list that is ranking me pretty high, I do look down at it, and it reminds me that don't worry about any of that stuff. Stay humble, kid, and put your nose down in this work.
Can you show the bracelet?
Yeah.
Just so we can get a video.
So she made a Duke blue for me, but it's just a little "you suck" bracelet. I got like 20 of them sitting on my chest.
Do you pass them out to guys on the team that if they're going to too on?
I haven't yet, but that's a great idea. I'll have to give it some guys if they're ever getting too big of a head.
They may not take it the right way.
I'm sure they'll be all right.
Did you think that when you got to Duke, that you could make this much progress this quickly as an individual? That you'd be sitting up here, surrounded by cameras, people talking to you this soon in your career?
Right. To be honest, not exactly. I didn't really, obviously everybody says dream big, and I did have these dreams, but in reality, this time last year, I was like, dang, I may not even ever play a snap at Duke. And being in this situation now, I definitely try not to take it for granted. It's a blessing that God's given me every day. So I'm super grateful for this.
At what point did you go to the point where you were? At what point did you kind of realize and get the confidence that, hey, I can go out here and make plays, and I'm a really good quarterback?
Yeah, as far as my success goes, I kind of talk about it a lot, but that very first game when we shut out Temple to 0 points, that gives me the most confidence in the world. It's like, hey, I can, not play great here and there, but as long as we get the ball, we're gonna get the ball back 4 plays later. So that's what matters the most to me. That's what gives me confidence. Because whenever the defense is going out there playing great, it's like, shoot, let me just go out here and make a few plays a game, and we'll still win. So it's those little things that mean a lot to a quarterback.
You watched Clemson in the opener. I mean, some teams kind of easy this season with tough game, but you guys are starting off with Clemson. Is that how much does that help the fact that returning guys, maybe just a team that can hit the ground running and
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity for us. National television, Labor Day on Monday night. That's an opportunity for us. It's less of a challenge and more of an opportunity, to prove ourselves, to prove to everybody that last year wasn't just a one-year fluke. Coach Elko, me, and all these guys, we're here to stay. We're here to build this, school into a dual sport school, football and basketball school.
I'm sure you watched a lot of film, last year and in the off season, and you got to watch other quarterbacks in the ACC against those defenses. Who has stood out to you, and is there another quarterback in the league that you're saying, yeah, even when I'm on the sidelines, I need to watch that guy?
As far as in the ACC goes,
yeah.
There are a lot of great quarterbacks in the ACC. I'm a fan of everybody. Quarterbacks, everybody wants to. This guy versus this guy, this guy versus this guy. But at the end of the day, we're all boys. We're all just hanging out. I was able to be at the Manning Passing Academy and room with a couple of those guys. We're all just, good dudes trying to figure it out ourselves. So.
How about Drake May in particular? What have you seen out of his game, and what impresses you about him?
Yeah, he's a great player, great competitor. We became pretty close at the Manning Passing Academy, so it's been great to get to know him. And obviously, he's got a great arm, and I'm looking forward to playing them this year.
Coach kept talking about looking at different quarterbacks and learning like from NFL quarterbacks what they do. How did the Manning experience help you with that? What did you learn down there?
Yeah, so Peyton and Eli, two of the most humble quarterbacks that you'll ever meet. I learned so many things off the field from those guys, how to handle yourself, and what's really important. So Peyton had a long conversation with me about what's really important, and it reminded him every year that he has this camp, it reminds him of why he plays the game. Those little things, it's so easy to get a big head. It's so easy to fall under the the pressure that comes with playing quarterback. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to have some fun and give back to the community and use this pedestal that we're on for the greater good.
Coach kept saying the word elevate out there. What does that mean to you? Is that a buzzword in camp right now?
Yeah, it absolutely is. We use that a lot. We know where we're at right now. He uses elevate a lot, but what we're trying to figure out is how we do that. So in my opinion, elevation just comes from execution. So if we can just execute more, we can elevate our game. So that's something that we've used a lot because we know going into this year we're going to have to elevate our game in order to win some football games.
You mentioned watching film of other quarterbacks. Have you watched any of Clemson, or is that something you won't even worry about until closer to the game?
No, absolutely. I've watched a lot of Clemson with our coaches. Obviously, everybody knows the type of team that they are, so we wanted to get a jump start on those guys. So I've watched a lot of their film already, and they run some good stuff on defense. So it'll be fun to get out there after.
In terms of a lot of the compliments that you get, and a lot of terms that you get, right? People say you're sneaky athletic, even though you're one of the leading rushers in the league in terms of quarterback and top 20 overall in all players. People say that you snuck up on a lot of teams last year, even though by the time you late in the season, you know that we're a 7-8 win team coming in here. How do you feel about that, or does it not bother you at all and you don't pay attention to it, or is it like it's an extra log in the fire that's going to keep us learning to do what we got to do?
Yeah, so a tip from Daniel Jones that I got is keep your life as simple as possible and control what you can control. I can control how I play. I can't control how people say I play. So whenever I hear the word people say or read this list, read that list, am I going to go to bed at night worrying about that? Well, if I do, then I'm just worrying about something I can't control. If I don't, then I'm going to wake up the next day smiling and not worry about it.
In terms of things you can't control, you were one of the only quarterbacks in the nation last year to have a 3-to-1 or better touchdown interception ratio and rush for over 650 yards. And yet, I keep hearing there's another level to take this game to. And from you, I need to improve in all the things that you need to go in on. I've heard a lot about the intangibles. Tell me about the on-the-field stuff that you're like, if I get better at this, I'm going to hit that next level.
Yeah, there are so many things. I mean, if you go, I'll go back and watch the tape and be like, dang, I'm getting all this praise, but I got a lot to work on. As far as timing goes, arm strength, those are two things that I've really taken this off season. Protection goes, I do a great job communicating with my center, make sure I'm always protected. So that's something that I've been pretty good at, but I need to stay good at. As far as timing goes, rhythm and timing is Coach John's favorite thing in the world. He's an offensive coordinator, so there's a lot of things on the field that I do need to get a lot better at.
Riley, when you were talking about your mom, did you talk to her before this session too, though?
Absolutely.
When did you, like last night or this morning?
Both.
Both?
Both, yes, sir.
So the message of don't suck at interviews was last night and this morning?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So the other advice you gave?
I can pull up the text right now. It's pretty funny, but no, she's great. She's the sweetest person ever. Like I said, and it's always good to have a tradition. You just stick with it.
Was it text or call?
Last night was text. This morning was call.
So when we look at your arm strength, just going back to that for a second, right? When we think of arm strength, we think of flexibility, mobility, and actually getting physically stronger. How have you changed your body this offseason to promote and increase your strength?
Yeah, so something we do at Duke. The quarterbacks don't separate ourselves from the team when it comes to lifting. We're out there putting bars on our back, squatting heavy every time anybody else is doing that. So my strength has really improved And as far as mobility goes, Coach Jeremy Jacobs has been big. He's an assistant strength coach with me. We've been able to really work on external rotation, T-spine mobility, those sort of things. And that's really helped me get more whip on my arm. I know I'm speaking a lot of QB language right now, but those are the type of things that's going to help you get to the next level. Because obviously you see Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, these guys got a little bit different and new school throwing motions, but they got some whip on their ball. So I've really embraced that and tried to take some things from certain guys.
Well, you know from last year what a winning team looks like, feels like. Do you get that sense again this year when you're on your locker room?
Absolutely. I think a winning team just looks like a team that really cares about football and it's a bunch of competitors, and that's exactly who we are. Obviously, 17 returning starters. Coach Feely, our strength coach, is never going to let us lose our edge. That's who we are. That's what we're all about. So yeah, we'll never become satisfied with any past success.
Sorry if you've already been asked about this. How big of an opportunity is it in Durham, Labor Day night, all eyes on these guys?
Yeah.
One of the nation's best programs.
Yeah, obviously Coach Elko said it. If you want to be compared to the best, you got to play the best and you got to beat the best. So playing against those guys, it's going to be a dream come true, obviously. We're not too far away from each other when it comes to school, so we're going to have a great fan base there. I can't be more excited to kickstart the season against those guys.
I know it's just one game, but what would a win over a team like Clemson do for this program?
I don't know. I don't know if we've really had that statement win yet, so I'm looking forward to it. That's a good question. Yeah.
You were named a captain by your teammates this offseason. How does that change your mentality in the locker room, your approach?
Yeah, that was the greatest honor of my life. Mainly because it's my teammates that voted for that. So that really meant a lot to me. And when it comes to my mentality, whenever I got that captain job, that's just the beginning. A lot of people get it and they're like, oh, I'm good, like I'm set. No, that's just the beginning of your leadership career. So that really just gave me, more confidence going into the offseason, knowing, hey, when I tell this guy to do this thing, they'll actually believe in me because they, voted for me. So it really just gave me a bunch of confidence to say and do the things that a real leader needs to do.
How does that player-led workouts change maybe this offseason?
Yeah, I don't think I was as vocal at all. I think now I'm the guy that wants to go out there and say, hey, you're here, you're here, you're here. Instead of last year, it was maybe I was forced to do those things, and I didn't necessarily want to. Now it's like, hey, I know what it takes to win. Let me do everything that I can to get these guys in the right position to do this thing.
All right, you threw your mom under the bus about the Texans, but last year, I remember after one of the games, her and the whole family come out. She gives me a cell phone to take a picture of your whole family. So let's talk about some of the good things about your mom.
No, she's the best. I mean, I kind of forced her to do the "you suck" thing nowadays, but I mean, she's my biggest supporter every single game. She doesn't miss a game. She's always there, always asking how I'm doing. And to be honest, our relationship, yeah, she texts me I suck and football and everything like that, but our relationship, we don't even really talk about football. We talk about so many different things whenever we get on the phone. So yeah, it's been great to have her alongside, for the past 20 years of my life and 15 years of playing sports.
All right, as a kid, what's the worst thing that you did to tick off your mom?
That's her question. I probably can list 50 things I did to tick her off. But yeah, you'd have to ask her that question.
Okay.
Riley, what has Jordan Waters brought to that running back room, and how do you describe what he brings to the field?
Oh man, he's an incredible athlete. When it comes to pass protection, that's what I love most about Jordan Waters. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty and block for me. I mean, as a quarterback, that's one of the most reassuring things that a running back can do. And not only him, but Jalen Coleman, Jacquez Moore, and the young guy, and Peyton Jones. We're gonna have a really talented core of running backs, just like we did last year. And all those guys are great when it comes to pass protection, and all of them run hard. It's funny because they're all competing against each other, but they're like best friends too. So that's the type of team that's really gonna get you wins. When everybody is competing against each other, but also loves each other, that's a recipe for success.
Riley, sorry if you've been asked this, but what do you make of some of the comments either around the league or even some questions in there about Duke's place in the conference?
Yeah, like I say, you can control what you can control. Last year, I think we were projected 2-10. I don't know what we're projected this year. I try not to look at it. But I'm sure it's slightly better than that, but not exactly what we expect. Or we have expectations from the ACC, but I'm sure a lot of people don't think we have the capabilities of doing that. I really don't know. I don't really look at that stuff. But if they want to put us worse, if they want to put us best, I mean, what difference does it make, in my eyes?
So within the program, that just doesn't really penetrate what you guys are doing?
No, I mean, we're just all dudes just going out there and having fun every day. I mean, we're not going to, we're last, like, get all upset. Oh, we're first. Oh, we made it. I mean, it's all just rankings at this point.
Riley, you obviously have the best country in front of you. What's your relationship like with the
Oh my gosh, Monk's always going to have my back. Coach Feely, our strength coach, asked me last week, if you were to go to war and you only had one guy to bring beside you, who would you bring? It's Jacob Monk. He's like the most intense football player I've ever played with. If you see him pregame, don't talk to him because he is so dialed in. And then on the field, obviously, we're communicating back and forth. Hey, how can we pick this up? How can we pick that up? But Jacob Monk, I mean, he's an incredible human being. Obviously, got a great family behind him, and I can't wait to go to war with him.
How helpful is on the flip side of that, having someone who's played 3,000 snaps of football in front of you? Like, does that make you more comfortable?
It's so reassuring. He's been playing ever since I was probably like a junior in high school. So he's seen, every defense imaginable, every blitz imaginable, and he just goes into every game so confident that it gives me confidence. There's never a matchup he's been shaky about. No, he's going to win, and that's his mindset. So shoot, I'll just jump on his back and go right beside him.
Riley, what'd you learn? What'd you learn at the Manning Passing Academy?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I learned was, I can compete with some of the best guys in the country. I never took an official visit anywhere, never took an unofficial visit anywhere, never did any of that. A little bit of that was because of COVID, a little bit of that was because I just wasn't recruited in high school. Going out there and throwing with those guys who are the best quarterbacks in the nation, and rightfully so, I realized, hey, physically, I'm there, and as far as throwing goes, I really can't compete with these guys. So the next step that I have to take is just, being the smartest guy out there, taking all the intangibles, with it.
Now you said you studied a lot of NFL quarterbacks this offseason. Who are some in particular that you kind of watched to try to learn from?
Yeah, Tom Brady's mindset is something that's really, really special. Obviously, everybody knows that, but I really just try to find the videos that aren't out there as much and see how he handles, going into the facility. Daniel Jones is somebody I talk to a lot. He texts me after every game. He really does watch every single game. It's been great to talk to him because he's a real down-to-earth guy, and he kind of sees things the way I see it. And then Patrick Mahomes with throwing motions is another guy that I've really loved. So.
How much of a luxury is it to have someone like Daniel Jones who you can kind of rely on and talk to and try to grow your game?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence because obviously he was a great quarterback at Duke, but went 6th overall in the draft. So it's hey, if I play good ball, that could be me too. And obviously he just signed a huge contract, so it is possible for a Duke quarterback to do that. So it's really reassuring to have him.
Back to the Manning stuff, it sounds like you used it as kind of the first measuring stick in your college career. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a great motivation for me because I realized, of this group, only so many are going to get drafted. So we were just out there competing, having fun. And it made you realize, all the media and all the stigmas around some of these guys that aren't so great are all kind of just outside talk. Because whenever you get to talk to them one-on-one and have these conversations and get to know what they're really like, they're all great dudes. So it was a great experience for me.
Did you room with anyone? How does the roommate situation work?
So we all had 3 roommates. It was a 4-person suite in the dorm rooms over there. And my roommates were Drake May, Jordan Travis, and Devin Leary, who was at NC State. So a bunch of ACC guys. Yeah. And you think you're going to get in there and there's going to be some controversy or no, we all just got in there, had fun, talked for hours on end, just about ball and about life. So it was so cool.
You play any video games?
Nobody brought their video game console. We didn't have any time to play video games. We got there and the Mannings put us to work for a good 4 days straight.
Duke fans might be interested in you having a lot of long conversations with Drake.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people you don't really like, but it's hard. We have very similar personalities, so I mean, when you're roommates together, there's only so much. It is what it is.
What is it like being one of the several talented quarterbacks in this upcoming ACC season? I mean, there's a whole group of you. What is that like for you to kind of be a part of that group, but also making yourself known at the same time?
Yeah, it's really cool. We are competing against each other, but one guy's spotlight just brings attention to the other. So whenever I get to play in these big-time games against these big-time quarterbacks, they're not just looking at the other guy; they're looking at me too. So that's just an opportunity for me to, get my name out there and play good, for my future. So it's great to have these guys, because if there was only one or two good quarterbacks, we may not get all the attention and the publicity. So it's great for our program for me to be able to compete against the best quarterbacks in this league.
What kind of things does Elko do to keep you from being complacent? You mentioned that on the podium.
Yeah, he does a lot of things. He's really good at knowing how to keep me humble. He's really good at.
Does he text you?
he doesn't really text too much. We'll just talk face to face, and after every play, he'll be like, "What'd you see here?" We'll watch film, and he'll show me the defensive side of things. And he really has taken me to the next level when it comes to FBI football intelligence, because he's gonna keep me humble, in the X's and O's side of things just as much as he is on the field.
Does it benefit you? Does it benefit you more that he's a defensive-minded coach because he can show you the defensive side of things?
Absolutely. Coach John's is an amazing offensive-minded coach, but when it comes to Elko, I've learned so much about defense, and not only that, but playing against our defense every week. Obviously, Coach Elko is a great third-down coach. He loves that. He's going to throw so many different things at us at practice. I like to think of it, we're really just his lab rat to throwing blitzes at us. So I'm like, Coach, what is this blitz? He's like, yeah, I got you, didn't I? I'm like, bro, what are we doing? But he's an incredible, he's really the smartest man in the room, every room that he steps into. He may not tell you that, but he's just the smartest coach ever. So
there are coaches that will tell you they're the smartest in them, but he's not one of the ones that makes it known immediately.
Yeah, he's a real humble coach. He's not really like a CEO. He doesn't run the team like that. He doesn't do too much media stuff and publicity and things like that. He really just wants to coach football, and that's what he's best at. So everybody in the facility knows, like, when he tells you something or has this idea this week, you listen and you run it, because it's going to work.
What about the challenge of the season opener? Clemson's been the standard for almost a decade in this league. To open with them, what does that say about measuring sticks in this one?
Yeah, they've obviously had a great track record of plenty of years in college football, and they brought a lot of attention to the ACC. And attention is something that Duke necessarily hasn't gotten. But this is an opportunity for us to, go out there and prove ourselves. Obviously, everybody in the country is going to be watching this game on Labor Day, Monday night, national television. It's going to be a lot of fun for us to prove, hey, we can be a two-dimensional school in football and basketball.
With that said, what challenges have you seen from them defensively? They have two of the best linebackers in the country. But when you look at them a little closer, what do you see some of the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, they're just a bunch of talented guys, obviously a bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits. So, they have a lot of talent. I think we're going to be able to, give them a run for their money when it comes to, our game plan, how we trust the coaches, how do we pick up, these certain blitzes that I talked about, and just playing smart ball. I think that's how we can, have our competitive advantage against them, because they're gonna be a great, defense. They got a lot of talent out there, great linebackers coming back. So I'm excited to get out there and compete against them, because after that, I'll be able to see, like, hey, we really got it.
After a game, when you're out on the field, who are you looking to touch base with? Because I mean, at the Wake Forest game, Coach Elko reached out to Sam Hartman because of the connection. Are there specific players or other folks that you're looking to touch base with after the games?
I don't really think about that too much. I do have some buddies on every team that I like to catch up with, but as far as singling out a couple guys, not necessarily.
Dwayne said that your strength program, you guys all day have been talking about it, how great it is. Do you feel stronger going into this season? Maybe in what ways?
Absolutely. Like I said, us quarterbacks, we don't really alter our workout from the rest of the team at all. So we're in there squatting, doing all these things that we do in our program, just like everybody else. And I think that's a huge competitive advantage when it comes to leadership, because once these guys see a quarterback working just as hard as them, you know, it starts to turn their wheels a little bit, and subconsciously they know, like, hey, you know, Riley has our back. He's going to go to war with us. I think that's really important. Huge shout out to our strength program, because, you know, we do work really hard, but we also work really smart. So we're constantly measuring things. If some guy has a little tweak here, we're going to catch it, because we do jumps, we do the Nord board, we do so many different science statistics and things like that are going to put us at, you know, the best possible chance we have to succeed and stay healthy.
Last year you led your team in rushing. How does that look going into the season? Number one, feeling stronger, but what does the running back room look like? Will you be carrying the ball as much? You're going to have a little bit of help?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't think I'll have to run as much this year because we have all that talent coming back. And you know, I really take what the defense gives me. So if I have 0 rushing yards our year, or I have 1,000 rushing yards our year, that's just going to come like week by week and how I want to approach the defense. I try not to think about it too much. So yeah,
kind of just happens.
Yeah, it just really just happens.
Were you surprised last year by your success on the run?
I think a lot of people were, but growing up, that's kind of all I really was. I didn't have the greatest arm in high school. I definitely wasn't seen as a pocket passer by any means. So for me, it was just like I was just playing the same football that I've always played, and I think a lot of people just stereotyped me a little bit. But yeah, I just went out there and played my game.
Riley, how big is that first game from a standpoint of showing people that, you know, last year was not a fluke and that you guys can play big boy football?
Yeah, like I said, like we have a goal to win the ACC, and obviously beating a team like Clemson would be a huge step to get there. They got a great, like I said, track record. They got a great football team, really well coached. Dabo's a coach that I respect a lot in his faith and how he runs things. So to get a win like that is huge for the program, huge for our confidence going into this year. A lot of people, you know, if we're able to win, are going to be surprised. But for us, you know, it's just another game. Those guys put on their shoes the same way we put on our shoes.
From a standpoint of, you know, experience, all the guys that you have back, and they've got a new offensive coordinator, their quarterback's going to be making it's only his second career start. Do you kind of feel like you have an advantage as far as experience is concerned, considering it's the first game?
Yeah, you know, I do think so. I think me being a second-year quarterback, I have played in those big-time games before, so I don't think that there are too many things that, you know, they have an edge on us this year when it comes to, you know, experience. Jacob Monk, as we talked about, has played, you know, more snaps than maybe anybody in this program history. So, yeah, I think experience is something that we need to look at, we need to take advantage of.
In the quarterback room is a guy from our area who's Grayson Marcus. What have you seen from Grayson? We've known him for 4 years in high school. What have you seen from him? He's only been there since January. That kind of stands out.
Yeah, he's such a humble kid. He's so good to have, you know, as a backup guy that's going to end up becoming a starter one day. He's the most humble kid that really just loves football. I mean, this guy would just sit up there and watch film from last year over and over and over again. He'll constantly ask me questions. He told me, he was like, dude, I'm going to be so annoying to you, like, by the time you leave, because I just want to pick your brain, see how you approach things. So I love the mentality of that dude, because as a 18, 19-year-old kid, he's more mature than maybe anybody I've ever been around. Thank you.
Coach Elko was talking about when he and his staff came in, they essentially wanted to purge 3 and 9. They didn't want to try to use it as motivation or anything. He talked about one of the pillars being now, just be in the present. How did you guys respond to that, and did that help you as you guys, in fact, did turn it around last season?
Yeah, I say it all the time. Control what you can control. So every day we went into the facility, we were either going to work hard or we were going to, fall into the customs of the things that we did in the previous years. Not to say that we didn't work hard, but there was a new kind of mentality in the program that we could control. And huge shout out to our strength staff for that, because Coach Feely is the one who came in there and really set the example of a winning program. He didn't let us, slack at all. I mean, this dude was going to be on us, and I was very grateful to have experienced that first summer with him. And you'd think some things would change. No, like this summer was just as hard, even harder. And he's never going to let us become satisfied.
So what was that first workout like with him?
Oh man, that was something different, something special. Because we got in there in the first couple of weeks of those workouts, we were all like dog tired, but eventually you start to embrace that grit, embrace that grind that we talked about a lot. So now, like, we approach a workout like kind of like a dog mentality, ready to get after it.
I don't know what you've seen from the receivers, having all of them back. How it's been helpful in the second year of Coach John's system to have all the same guys to throw to.
Yeah, those guys are much more focused on football this year and their craft. Last year it was like, oh gosh, what do we do? And I talk about this a lot, but moving into how we do it, these guys are constantly asking, hey Riley, when can we throw? When can we throw? When can we watch film? If they see something at practice, they'll send me a video of it. Hey, I think I can run this route a little sharper. What do you think? Asking questions and getting feedback from those guys has been huge, because communication in the game of football is arguably like the most important thing. So if you're not communicating with your guys and everybody's just doing their own thing, that's never going to work, especially with receivers and quarterbacks, because we have so many routes that they can do up to 5 different things on. So if we're not on the same page, it can be a complete disaster.
You talk about Jordan in particular, going from being the quarterback battle last year to now having a full season as receiver.
Yeah, he's a competitor. He's the best athlete on our team. No matter what sport we do, he's going to pick it up and be good at it. So whenever he moved to receiver, I don't think he had run a route maybe like 4 years before last year. Comes out there after maybe half a week of practice against Temple and just balls out. I think his first catch, he got like 60 yards. So this offseason, you see him in there working on footwork and working on these drills. I mean, he's going to be deadly this year because his craft and his bag is growing tremendously.
Riley, I heard a story that you wore a bracelet that said "You Son."
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Yeah, I got it right here.
You're wearing it right now.
That's right. So in high school, I was praised a lot, and I didn't enjoy it too much because everybody always told me how good I was. I don't know if I really worked as hard as I should have been working in high school. So I eventually was like, hey, I'm tired of all this. I'm tired of all this noise. I'm tired of people telling me how good I am. I needed somebody to tell me it sucked. My mom was like, hey, raise your hand immediately. Like, hey, I'll do it. So ever since then, before every game, before any interview or things like that, she was like, don't suck at this. You suck. And it's funny because she says it as well as a mom can say it, because obviously she doesn't mean it by any means, but it's something that, a tradition that I really enjoyed over the years, because we have some fun with it.
How excited are you about opening the season on national television against Clemson? A lot of hype on a Monday night, being the game of the day. I mean, it's going to be pretty cool for you.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience, because last year, I don't know if we would have ever thought of being that prime time game, but now going into this year, there's a lot of attention, and especially with Clemson coming in, that's going to mean even more. So this is a huge opportunity for us, because if we can play well, we'll really let the nation know that this is not just a basketball school.
Now that's a team that's put up traditionally good defenses on the field. They got a pretty good crew coming back this year. How do you prepare for that? You don't have games to get you ready for it. How do you get ready for the Tigers?
Yeah, a couple of things. Number one is you prepare like anybody else. And these guys put their shoes on just like we do. We think we have competitive advantages. The second point I was going to say is we have that experience. 17 returning starters, we can use that to our advantage. We've been in these situations before. We have played in big-time games, and we have seen a lot of different coverages on the offensive end and a lot of different offenses on the defensive end. So we need to use that as an advantage for us. Thank you. What's up?
We want to do rapid-fire questions.
Oh, rapid-fire? Let's do it.
I ask you rapid-fire questions. And the goal is, we want to know, let the fans and media know more about you.
Let's do it.
All right. Amir Riley Leonard, we got rapid fire questions. Riley, how would you describe that Heisman hype that you're getting?
Don't really care about it too much.
Favorite play call to hear in the huddle?
All goes. 4 birds, baby. Let's swing it around.
Favorite Favorite coverage to go against?
Ooh, that's a great question. I honestly like coverage 0. Let them bring the house, throw the ball, just throw it up to your guys. Maybe get hit a little bit while you're doing that, but just throw it up and let them make a play.
All right. Favorite artist to listen to right now?
Ooh, Sam Cooke. That's my guy. 60s. My favorite song is "Lean on Me" by Bill Withers. As far as Sam Cooke goes, there's like 20 different songs that I listen to. He's never made a bad song. Yes.
Do you have a pregame meal that you go to all the time?
No, I mean I just eat whatever our nutritionist gives us. I don't really care too much.
Favorite spot to go to in Durham?
Probably a Durham Bulls game. That's something that Durhamites love. I actually was able to go to to the Durham Bulls Stadium, but the Savannah Bananas played there last week, so that was a lot of fun. Those dudes are hilarious.
All right. What is your all-time favorite snack?
Snack. Probably spicy nacho Doritos. That's a basic answer, but like, who doesn't like Doritos?
All right. All-time favorite candy.
All-time favorite candy. Okay, not many people know this, but they're called Bigfoot. They're in the blue bag. Bigfoot. They're like Sour Patch Kids a little bit.
Okay.
But a Dollar General by my store, we used to like ride our bikes to a cornfield and go to this Dollar General and get these Bigfoot every single day. So if Bigfoot's watching and you're still a company, please send me some. Please send me some. Yeah. I haven't had one in like 10 years.
All right. How would you describe Coach Elko in 5 words or less?
In 5 words or less. Intense and players coach. We'll do that. He's super intense. No matter where you are, on or off the field, like he's here to coach football, and he's also a players coach. So some of the things that he doesn't care too much about, like uniform or something, he's just gonna let the players pick. When it comes to where we want to room, who we want to room with, he's gonna let the players pick that kind of stuff. So he doesn't have too big of an ego when it comes to that.
And last but not least, the most important question: Madden or NCAA football?
Oh, great question. So NCAA, NCAA, 100%. And a lot of guys are like, hey, they're giving us $500. That's not enough. I told them like, shoot, I'll pay you $500. Like, I want to be in that game just as bad as anybody. So that's just my opinion. Absolutely.
Hey, Riley, Jen Lewis at 3 Chicks in a Pot in Houston, Media. So another rapid fire question followed by a couple others. What's the state is hotter, Alabama or North Carolina? Okay. So my other questions are, what was your favorite play that you generated last season?
Okay. My favorite play last season that I had something to do with?
Yeah.
It had to have been the Wake Forest touchdown to my boy Samir Higgins. We had worked that route a lot. That was the go-ahead touchdown that kind of got us that last win against Coach Elko's former coaching staff. So it was just really cool.
Right, and then as a community leader, what is your favorite way to give back? As not only a leader, but as a role model too.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. One thing we did yesterday actually was we went to the Ronald McDonald House and baked cookies for the kids.
Oh,
and it's really fun, but it's kind of hard to do that kind of stuff because it's so sad to see these kids. So you try to keep a smile on, you try to give them hope, but it's really something that it'll break you. So that was a lot of fun yesterday. Learned a lot about those kids, and we're gonna try to stay in touch with them as much as possible.